Hi, my name is Nat Nye, the Lyrical Alchemist, and I'm talking about my other hole's artwork here that I have poetry for. So on my right is Kimpavita, depicted as the Black Madonna and her son. And I mention her in this long, extensive, in-depth, and quite outstanding poetry that breaks down what's happening in the Congo and how long it's been going on for. And it's centered around Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba was known to be, his assassination was known to be the most important in the whole century of the 20th. The 20th century was considered the most important assassination. And those that were involved was essentially the European powers, including the European Americans. So you had the Belgians, you had the intelligence agencies of the British, you had the intelligence agencies of the Americans as well, and you had the UN. So all of these different forces were involved in his removal. And it really did cast an illusion of independence, essentially, because independence, this was the first elected prime minister by the people, and outside forces, colonial masters, decided that he was not fit for their purpose. And this depiction of him, as Stella B said earlier, is one where he actually delivered a powerful and potent speech that essentially centered the Africans and also the African pain, the Congolese pain specifically. And it is one to hold the Belgians in particular accountable for what they did. So this speech was one where he stood up for the Congolese and said that this is we're basically starting a new chapter. They didn't like it. So the reasons are very, very clear and they're obvious. It's because Congo essentially powers the world. So we see that today in this tech world that we're in, the minerals taken from the Congo, which is naturally the richest country on the face of the planet, it powers this very phone that is filming me on. It powers the airplanes that we use, the transportation in general, any kind of technology you can think of. Inevitably, the minerals is coming from the Congo. So AI, etc., 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 the things that we have afforded to us is because of the Congo. It the nature of the way the world could be different. It doesn't have to be in this way. It could be different. We could be enjoying all of this, but certain corporations don't have to be making insane amount, billions and trillions on the back of the blood of Congolese people. So the poetry as well as the art is to honor these greats. I do mention Kim Pavita in there because she is also to be recognized, and when you recognize Kim Pavita, you realize that what's been happening to the Congo has been happening for centuries, in fact. And it's a stranglehold over that part of Africa where there hasn't been much breathing space for the people to actually have some sort of real autonomy and self-determination. So essentially, the poetry, the arts we're utilizing so that we can cast a vision of empowerment and autonomy, and one where the destiny is in the hands of the people rather than where it has been. So we're shifting things with what we're doing with the arts. So Friday, we're doing a celebration, a pre-Independence Day celebration right here at Alifa's gallery. So come on through. These art pieces here, they're gonna go on tour at some point to Amsterdam. So really and truly, the best case scenario is actually if you stop them from going on tour, seen them and seen the other beautiful art right here, and then stop them from going on tour and took them home with you, because part of the money, 50% of the money is going back to the gallery, which is going to go to purposes due to empowering more and more of us. So come on through Friday. Yo, this is Nat Nye, the Lyrical Alchemist. Here I am talking about Patrice Lumumba. This magnificent piece is depicted by my other host, Stella B, Also, Pauline Lumumba, his wife, who should be recognised. Stella B did a great job in recognising her. And Kim Pavita as well, which is the centerpiece. She was the Kingdom of Congo. Congo is spelled with a K. She was a priestess several centuries before. But Patrice Lumumba, this year is actually his centenary. He was quoted by Malcolm X. Malcolm X said this about him as the greatest black man that ever walked the African continent. That's what Malcolm X described him as. That was his impact and his inspirational nature he had upon Malcolm X, who is also celebrating 100 years, or we are celebrating 100 years of Malcolm X since his birth in 1925. Patrice Lumumba, born in the same year. Both of them had a massive impact in terms of how Africans are seen when we are aware of what they did, and how we see ourselves when we are aware of what they did and what they fought for and what they really were about and the contribution they made. In particular, Patrice Lumumba, in a very, very, very short space of time, we just saw the potential of what he could have done if he had been allowed to stay in power. If he was able to stay in power and was able to stay alive, then the whole world as we know it today would be completely different. So this is another reason to come through and celebrate with us the pre-Congo celebration at Aletha's Gallery on Friday from 5 till 9. So Patrice Lumumba, this image, as you can feel from the screens, is emanating the energy of such great. So yeah, coming through, there's so much amazing artwork as well. Peace.